early on the daily planner. You can see the next standard down. That's what we've been doing the last few days, finding the missing side. What is the 8th grade standard? And if you should look at the 8th grade, you should be able to check off everything below that, right? The next standard is I can use the converse. That's what we did last night. So again, reading that, the 8th grade standard is I can use the converse to show if it's right, acute, or obtuse. If you can do that, you should be able to do the ones below it. This will help prepare you for the test, okay? So looking at that page. Now I'm going to have you turn to the inside to page 15. Which one is it? 15. Is it? 16. 16. 16. The first 4 questions in your homework today look like this problem. And they say find the volume of the cone, and they also say find the missing side. Okay? Now, if we're looking at this one, this is my slant height. The diameter is 6 inches. Can you tell me what our radius is going from here to here? 3. The radius is equal to 3 inches. Okay? Do I have enough information to find the volume yet?
Yes.
What do we need for volume?
Oh, never mind. No, you don't.
We need the what?
Height.
Height also. So I might draw, okay, here's my right triangle, right? Here's my right triangle that I'm looking at. And what do I know in my right triangle? I know that I have to start with a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Because I know the slant height, I know the hypotenuse is 6 squared. And do we want the radius to be a or b? A. So we're going to put our a is 3 squared. And change, instead of keeping it as a b, put it as radius squared. Write this right now. If you don't have a pencil, I have pencils in the back or pens by my desk. Okay? So we're going to put 3 squared, which is 9, plus radius squared equals 36. Now this height here has to be less than 6 inches, right? So when I subtract 9 from both sides, my radius squared is equal to 27. Right? 36 minus 9 is 27. You agree? What is my radius? If the radius squared is 27, we're going to use the radius is the square root of 27. Do not put it in your calculator. Do not change that. Hunter.
Why do you have the R there? The red R?
Ah, I should have had H, right? Thank you. I should have had H. Thank you. This is my height. Good job. Way to pay attention to details. R was 3. We should have height here.
Can you still put B though?
You know, the reason I use height is because now we're going to change to finding the volume, right? And when we find the volume, write your formula. Some of you still got that wrong on the test, so start with, do we want to go 1/3 or divide by 3?
1/3.
So we're going to go pi, radius squared, height, divide by 3. And some of you like to put the divide by 3 behind here. I don't care which way you do that. So now we're going to fill in our information. We're going to have pi on our calculator. We're going to have 3 squared. Write all the numbers in. Don't put 9. Put this on your paper. Hunter, you ready with us?
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like your pencil isn't moving. That's why I asked. And then this is square root 27. All divided by 3. Now, when I'm putting this on my calculator, so take your calculator out, I might start with the square root of 27. Because the square root of 27 I know has to be around 5 something, right? So I might put in, on my calculator, I have to put 27 and then square root. Some of your calculators, you put the square root button and then you put 27. You should get about 5.1 or 5.2, okay? What are we taking that times? 3 squared. So I'm going to go times 3 squared times pi. So this whole answer is very irrational, right? Our calculator rounded it. And then we're going to get equal, and we're dividing that by 3. Now if you wanted to use 1/3, that works also.
and my volume is 48.9. 48.9 what? Inches cubed or cubic inches. So, on the first 4 questions on your homework, you're going to see pictures like this. You'll see a cone. They're going to ask you to find what's missing. So over to the side, show that work that we did with the a squared plus b squared. If you did not write this work down right here, I need this on your paper. So those of you that are just like, I'm going to write the volume formula, no, put all of that down. Okay, so answer is 48.9 inches cubed as we are looking at. Now, I know on that next one down, you do not have a lot of room, okay? And here is what you are doing. This is what I want you to imagine. This is this box, okay? So this is the bottom where it's 12 inches going across, right? This is the 4 inches going up. And I know it's not drawn, this box is not to scale it to this picture. And this would be the 3 inches going back, right? And what you're trying to find is this string that I have here. You're trying to find, that's the length you're asked to find. So in your homework tonight, you have to do 2 things with this picture. The first thing we have to do is we have to use the Pythagorean theorem twice. We need to look, and if this side is 3 inches, what do we know over here is? 3 inches, write that in, please. And if this is 4 inches tall, what do we know from here? That's also 4 inches tall, right? And so the first thing that you're going to do when you look at this picture is we are going to draw, and so what I want you to do is draw a straight line from point A back to this point. So draw this line first. Draw that on your picture. Everyone draw that in. From A going across, so this is like my black line that you can see in here, okay? It's like going across the bottom of the box, okay? I'm going to show you a video in just a minute where they kind of show this a little better. We're going to call this line X. We don't know how long it is, right, at this point, okay? But that's not even what we're trying to find. What we're trying to find is this line that goes from up here to here. That's the line we really want to find. So draw that line in, please. This is going to be my Y. That's my end goal. You will see this question on your test. You will see a box problem like this where you have to do the double Pythagorean theorem to solve it. Someone says, can't I just say, you have to do it this way. I wish I could tell you a simpler way. So let's draw the blue triangle right here on our paper so that we can see what that blue triangle looks like. Now, if you want to draw it so it looks almost the same, you might draw your picture like this, right? In this triangle, so I'm going to make it blue, this is the blue triangle I'm talking about. Okay? On the box here, it's the black line. So what's the base going across here? What's the base going across? 12, right? How high up does this go on the box? It is not 4, but 3. Okay? This is my right triangle. This is X. Okay? So 3 dimensions are sometimes hard to picture. Okay? But when you see the video, you'll see this even better. Because the guy does the 3D drawings on the computer. It's kind of cool. So can we find X? Do we know how to do that? That was today's homework, right?
Yes.
Finding the missing on the right triangle. So what am I starting with as I am looking at this, Lucy? About A squared
Oh yeah, A squared
plus B squared equals C squared. So write that down. So if we don't know right triangle, that's what we're going to start with, okay? Next thing, Connor, we're going to put down what? For this triangle right here in the blue, what do we know? A is what?
Oh, yeah, you do 12 squared
12 squared
plus 3 squared equals X.
Yeah, let's make it x. And for some reason, every time I move up and down my picture, it changes those numbers around, so it's really weird. Sorry about that. So 12 squared, we know, 144. Plus 3 squared is 9. X squared. We're going to add those two together. I get 153. That's x squared. What is x equal to, Cassidy? Not a decimal. What's the exact x? Exact. Square root of 153. Okay? That was my first picture. Here's the second picture that we're going to be looking at, and I'm going to make it pink over here. Okay? The second picture had another right triangle. How tall was this one going up? 4 inches. How long was it going across if this is my pink triangle? This was x. Put an x there. So on your picture, put an x. Because the answer that you get here is going to be filled in here. And that's why we don't want to put square root of 157 in our calculator. We want to leave it. Because this is my y. Okay? So I start with that same Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Addie, start me off. What do you want to use for a in the pink triangle? 4. Which means this is my x, right? This is where x is. What was x? Square root 153. Why did we not want to find that? Because what happens when you square a square root? Write it down. Got it? It just 153 equals, and now this is where we're going to put our y squared. So I have 16 plus 153. It actually comes out to a pretty nice number, right, when you add those together. What is y squared? 100 and... Do we recognize it?
Yeah, perfect square.
It's a perfect square. It is 13. Someone said, all that work to get 13? Yes. This is a 8-point question on the test. Okay? You just have to do it twice. So when you do it, it's just a matter of what is our answer for this one. So the question said, what was the side length? What is the length from A to B? Our answer is 13 inches, right? 13 inches was our answer. How did we get that? Because that was our work down here, okay? So the homework that you're doing tonight looks like this page. We have one more page of notes and then you're done, and I hope to give you a lot of time to work and get most of this done. So let's look at this one. You look at the problem and it says, what's this indirect measurement? You and your friend live on different sides of the lake. If you were going to drive there, how long would it take you to get from you? How many miles would you be going from your house to your friends? If you were going to go by road, how long would it take you? 1 point what? How many miles are you going?
1.2 miles.
1 point, well, that's from here to here is 1.2. But your house is way over here. How far? 1.7, right? So on the test, I might ask a question like, how much farther, or how much time, or how many miles did you save by driving, right? How much further is it going this way than this way? This one just said, how far is it? The shortest distance, this is right here. We're trying to find x. Help me set it up. Ellen, start us out. What am I going to do to find x?
A squared plus b squared plus c squared.
Okay, and then tell me what are you going to fill in first?
1.2 squared
Mm-hmm.
plus 0.5 squared.
Take those calculators out and start putting them in. You can put both those in at the same time if you'd like, and get your one answer here for c squared. I'm okay with that. turns out nice again, didn't it? What'd you get for the decimal when you added those two? 1.69. So 169, the square root was 13. So if you put the square root in your calculator, so C, the length, is going to be the square root of 1.69 miles, which gives us 1.3. Is that right?
Yeah.
1.3 miles. Is that the longest distance of those three that they gave us on the right triangle?
Yeah.
0.5, 1.2. This is 1.3. That makes sense that this should be 1.3. It had to be the longest side of our right triangle. Now, if I said, how much further to drive there than to take the boat? How much further was it?
0.1 miles.
Point how many miles? From 1.3 to 1.7?
0.4
0.4 miles more, right, to drive there? 0.4 of a mile more, okay? So just be ready, because it might ask you a question like that, right? All right, so the next one says, well, how far from the marina to your house? We're going to start off, how far from the marina? Start me out as I am looking at this one. Jeffrey, what do you want to start with? From the marina, so I'm trying to find this. We'll call this Y.
Oh.
What was it?
What do I have to start with to show my work to get how far this is? I'm going to start with what? Same way we started the last one, right? With
A squared plus
A square of A, the leg squared, plus the other leg squared equals the hypotenuse squared. Want to tell me what numbers we put in?
0.6 squared.
Okay, 0.6 squared plus point.
Squared.
Yep. Now, here's the thing. This one's a little trickier, and the numbers are kind of interesting. People think that if you square 0.6, that it's 3.6, but it's actually 0.36. Because if you think of taking 0.6 times 0.6, right, you got to have two numbers behind the decimal point. So it's 0.36. 0.4 is, if you think of 4 is 16, this is going to be plus 0.16. So we're going to add those two together. 0.36 plus 0.136 gives us 0.52. That's C squared. And we're trying to say which two things when we multiply together to give us 0.52. So on your calculator, and it has to be more than 0.6, right? So I take my calculator and I put in the square root of 0.52. And I get the square root. And I get 0.72. Does that make sense? It's the longest side. But people don't think that this 0.7211102, that that's right. So that sometimes, here's the deal. C here was equal to 0.72, in this case, miles. And when you have that number on your calculator, hit the square button. This is 0.72111, and I have that on my calculator and I hit square, it gives me the 0.52, right? So that's how you could check if you did. But I always have people say, well, there's no way that 0.7 times 0.7 can give you 0.5. Well, 7 times 7 is 49, so it does make sense that 0.72 could be correct, okay? People just always think that that can't quite be when I talk to students about that, okay? There is one more problem on yours, and I gotta just change the order of this. It's this one. This picture is your last one in your notes, and then we're going to go to work. It says you're standing 500 feet away from the Washington Monument. So if we could picture this Washington Monument, right, we could picture this, that it actually goes down to the ground. It's behind these trees, right? So it's maybe something like this. This is how tall it is, okay? And you're standing, it says, 500 feet away. So this is the base of the monument, and we're going to go out 500 feet. Does that make sense? Okay. So this is 500 feet. And now it gives us, says you're using a rangefinder on the ground. So a rangefinder is sitting on the ground, and it is measuring the distance to the top, right? So we're going all the way to the top. And if we go to the top of that, we're going from here, right, down to here, because our rangefinder was sitting on the ground. It says 747 feet. How tall is the monument? Do we know A, B, or C in this picture for our right triangle?
Say we know C.
We know C,
And A.
and we know, like, 'cause this is the
No,
right
no,
angle,
B
right?
and C.
We know A or B. Can the height be more than 747 feet?
No.
No. So when you're doing the problems, think about what they're giving you for information, right? So again, we would start this one with A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Mary, you want to tell us what you want to use for A squared?
A squared,
Okay. What are you going to use for B squared then?
500.
500. So A squared, definitely a calculator one, right? We're definitely going to use our calculators when we take this test. Test, by the way, is next week on Thursday. Okay, we're pretty much done with it after tomorrow's lesson. So put this in your calculator right now. A squared plus 250,000 equals, put it in your calculator. Some of you are waiting for me to do it. Do it, please. While you're putting that one in your calculator to get your answer, I'm going to let you finish that one. I want to show you on the daily planner. On the daily planner, I have two things up. The first one is 3 ways to explain. It says memorize one of them. I don't know that you necessarily have to memorize. But if you click on this, it says on the test you'll be at, we talked about this yesterday, it's worth 12 points, right? Here's one way I could explain it. Given 3 perfect squares whose sides are right triangle, a small square is formed on side A, and you might even write in an A here, another on B, and the side C. If you place the squares, and so this is one explanation. This is what we did the first day, okay, when we started this unit. I take a look at the next explanation going down. The next explanation is the one with our puzzle pieces that we did last week Friday. And I give you kind of some sentences. Does yours have to be word for word? No. But you should be able to go through and look at one of these. The last one that we are looking at is one kind of with our dot paper that we've worked with, okay? That we counted the area and the area and the area of this one. So the sides had to be, once we know the areas add up, the side has to be the square root of that. So you can look at that. Here is the video that I was talking about that shows this Pythagorean theorem. We're not going to watch all of it, but even just to see how he draws this picture, and you can see it over here. Here's another one. This flip of the, and so you make it with the 2 triangles. And so sometimes when you're looking at
Hi there.
The videos, I don't know if you
That distance, okay? If we know this line, this distance along the bottom,
and show the 2 triangles like we did,
and find all the
and sometimes it's just
unknown
good to see
variables, okay? All the unknown
the 2
values.
like, see that
So those are our 4
line
steps. Let's look at how this works in an example. So here's that exact same problem, okay? We want to find, ultimately we want to find this distance from the orange.
It made sense to me, and someone said, I had to watch it 3 times for it to make sense to me. Each of us have a different learning style and a way we learn things, so you need to see or hear something 2 or 3 times, that's not a big deal. For an answer, what did we get? About how much for our height?
504.
500, and it says round to the nearest foot. So we want to say 555 feet. Okay. If you had 554 point something, we want to round it, right, to the nearest foot. Okay. So, for your homework, you're going to take out a sheet of notebook paper. I want you to take a look at number 1, and we're just going to write this in your workbook. But all the work will be on a separate sheet of paper. If you don't have paper, raise your hand and Mr. Becker will get you some. It's right on that second top down. Alright. So sheet of notebook paper. What are you putting on the paper? Your work. You're putting B6 and your first and last name. I had a couple people in algebra yesterday that were very sad. They handed in a bunch of homework and they didn't have names, and then some people that didn't hand it in, or maybe they did, or they were late. Put your name on your paper. So if you don't have notebook paper, take out notebook paper. Put your name on the top, B6, and then B6. You do not have to draw these pictures, you just need to write number 1 on your paper. When you write number 1 on your paper, what do we need to find first? It says find each of the missing variables. We need R. What do we know? We know this, that our height is 12, and this side of the right triangle is 20. So I have to start with the Pythagorean theorem, right? A squared plus B squared. So I have to start this one first with A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and I might put R squared plus 12 squared, right? When I'm done and I find what R equals, then on my notebook paper, I have to go over and put the volume formula first, and then I have to solve.
So
Okay.
you want us to do the volume on the notebook paper?
It says, find the missing value, then find the volume of each cone. So there's 2 parts to each question.
I know, but you want us to put the volume on this?
I want everything on that one piece of paper, because what's going to happen on that one piece of paper, that's what you're going to hand in.
So we should have no writing on this book.
If you wanted in your workbook to just write down R and B because you wanted those answers, but no, you don't have to have anything in the workbook. Everything's going to be on the paper for me. If you'd like to put it in both places, but we are not cutting this out, you are handing in the notebook
Is it
paper
okay
to me.
if we put volume on the back and then?
I would do it all in the front because I'm going to have you turn to the back and we're going to do one of these questions. So if you turn your notebook paper over, let's do number 5 together. 5 or 7, doesn't matter to me. 7? Okay?
No, 5.
Anyone besides Ramiro have a vote on this? Or
Five.
Okay. Oh, so 8.